and I mean, I remember this like it was yesterday, is that I woke up and I felt a hand on my shoulder. I felt a presence around me that was peace. I felt a presence around me that I was okay and that I was going to be okay. And that was the day that I started believing. I knew that God, and the thing about it is, and going back to me waking up that day, was everything that I prayed about before that month earlier had come true. So the things that I prayed about were having friends that were intentional about getting to know me, having a good job, which I know doesn't matter, but it mattered to me at the time. And this was the time that we were building the business. It was a time where I felt lonely. I felt afraid. I felt inadequate. I felt all these things. And, I woke up this day and I knew that I had friends. I knew I had friends that cared about me. I knew I had a family that loved me, and they always loved me, but I never felt that because it was just in my brain. I have a very, very loving family, and I'm very blessed to have that family. But my inadequacy changed into people having conversations with me about my past and why I'm still here and why do I come to church and all of these things. And I had multiple people walk up to me that said, like, conversations that I've had with you have changed my life. And so it was a realization that my time here on earth wasn't nothing. It was a time that I realized that God had put me on this earth for a reason, to pour into people, to speak into people, to give people their potential that they have in their life, because I never thought I had potential, but I know that now I do have potential and I can pull that out of people. And so that was all the way back in 2018, which I know wasn't long ago, but going through my
COVID, that was a long time ago.
COVID did
What was that world?
but like going from then to now, it was at the church we attended, and you still attend at, is that I took a big step. When my first 6 months of attending that church, I was always in the back row. I was always the person that didn't care, didn't want to be around people, didn't want to worship, didn't want to do anything. And the day that happened was the day that I moved to the front row. And I've never gone anywhere past the front row. I've never gone back, and I've never taken a step away from that front row, even to the church that I attend now. I sit in the front row every week because I know that if I can show people that the way that I'm worshiping and the way that I love Jesus, I can prove to them that no matter what I've been through before, they can do the same exact thing. That they don't have to be self-conscious about the way that they worship. They don't have to be self-conscious about how to praise God, because being in the front row, there's nothing in between you and the stage, and you're able to put God in that presence right in front of you and be able to show the people that nothing is going to stop me from being as close to God as I can.
Yeah. And nothing keeps you from it.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Your past doesn't keep you from the opportunity to be right there.
100%. 100%.
So fast forward to 2022.
Mm-hmm.
Signing up for Bible school.
Yep.
What was that decision?
Yeah, I mean, you all and basically in this room know this story of things I went through at the end of last year. Multiple things happened of losing someone that was very close to me, not by death, but just by acceptance of just not being in the same path of life. We had issues with our business. Multiple things happened, and I felt like I was left with nothing. I felt like I was back at the stage I was in 2018 when I tried to kill myself, and I wasn't going to kill myself at this time because I had God by my side. But I was sitting at home and I was reading the book that you told me to read, Driven by Eternity by John Bevere. I was reading that book, and that book changed my life.
It's a wild book.
It is a wild book, and
I just want to give also like a disclaimer, like that book is also not for the faint-hearted.
I mean, I even texted you when I was reading. I was like, I don't know if I should have read this.
Yeah, it's a great book, but I would also strongly encourage you to be. It's not going to make you question your faith, but you need to be firm. You need to have a firm foundation before you read that book, and then it will strengthen you even further.
100%. But I was reading that book one night, and I was reading. He does allegories about what the pictures of heaven are like and what the pictures of hell are like. And I was reading the part about hell, and I got scared. I got very afraid of the way that I've lived my life, even as a believer. I mean, everyone's a sinner, and I got scared of the sin that I was still committing in my life. And reading that book, reading about hell, I had to set the book down on my chest because I was laying in my bed on my back. Set the book down on my chest, and I started praying again. And this prayer was a lot about asking for forgiveness, about the sin that I was still committing, about the sin that I had committed in my previous times in life. And at the end of my prayer, I said, God, please forgive me. And like getting slapped in the face, like hitting a brick wall going at 100 miles an hour, like an overwhelming feeling came over me. And I heard the words, "You are forgiven." And that moment in my life was a big moment.
Was it like an audible?
Yes.
You are forgiven?
I heard the words. Yes. And I know that sounds weird, and I know that sounds different to maybe some people that are listening to this. But it was true. I mean, I knew that the words that were said to me were from God, and I didn't know at the moment. And I'll be honest about that. Like I was like, it's just the voice in my brain speaking right now that you are forgiven, you know. And so I ended up falling asleep after that, and I got up the next day, did what I had to do, and I was back in the next night reading that book again, and I got through the end of the part about hell, and I sat the book down again on my chest, and I started praying about my future, about my purpose in life, and about what am I supposed to do in your kingdom. And he spoke to me again. He said that the words he said to me were, "You are to be a pastor." Now, the word pastor can be defined in many different ways. It could be someone speaking on a Sunday. It could be someone that just goes to people and speaks to them about their issues or their faith or whatever it may be. And so I was very confused at the time. I didn't know exactly where this was going to go. I didn't know what these words were going to be. And I don't remember falling asleep that night. But I know that I woke up at 6:12 that morning. And at 5:43, about 30 minutes before that, I had a text from my lead pastor of a picture of the school of ministry that I'm a part of this is a flyer for it, and you are someone that I believe should be in this. And so that was my confirmation that it was God, that if God said those words to me, and then the pastor that's in my life was sending me this, that it was a confirmation for me that God was speaking to me. And the crazy thing about this ministry, the school of ministry, is that it focuses on what we said earlier was the fivefold ministry of the Bible, which in the Bible it speaks that the gifts of the church are teacher, pastor, apostle, evangelist, and prophet. And so that was like highlighted on the flyer. And so I saw the word pastor, and I was just like, what is happening right now? And so I was still going through a lot at this time, even through all these prayers, me trying to find God. And this was another point in my life where I thought that I had lost everything, and I turned to God. And you could either have the choice to turn away from God or turn towards God. And I turned towards God, and he revealed a path to me. And within that path, it wasn't like I saw this flyer and I was just like, oh, I'm going to be in this. This is going to be my thing. My pastor and I actually had a lot of conversations about why I should or shouldn't be in this, because of the way that I was going through life and the things that I was dealing with. He was like, I know you're struggling with a lot. And the picture he gave me was the frame of a car. I was stripped down to just the frame of a car. And this was my time to be refurbished. This was my time to be built back up into an actual car that's moving forward. And we had multiple conversations over the next month, and I got accepted into the school after him giving me the recommendation towards the school. And it was a very eye-opening thing. I didn't ever expect myself to be in the position of being in a ministry school at all.